Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Year of Lupin here on Planet Tyro, the retrospective series where we speak about every animated release for Lupin the Third. Welcome back, guys. You guys have been on my case about this one. You know what's coming. If you were here following the retrospective last time, we spoke about 2019's Prison of the Past. You can go and click the YouTube card, the iCard, top right-hand corner. That will take you back to that discussion. Don't forget, we've got a playlist of every single Lupin the Third OVA, TV special, film, a whole library of that. And now we get to last year. It's 2021 at the time of recording, but last year they released a monumental Lupin the Third release that you guys have been bugging me about to get to. And I got a lot to say about this one. And I'm going to get a bit of hate because I'm going to be very critical. It's time we talk about 2020's The First. So, this is the CGI, high-quality animated Lupin the Third movie. It just had everyone excited. When the trailer came out a couple of years ago, actually, before they even had the trailer, I think there was a proof of concept short movie showing what the CGI animation would be like. It was in black and white, if I remember correctly. I saw a clip of it somewhere else on YouTube, and it looked pretty good. And now that the finished product has come all these years later, and I waited for the English dub, and I'll get to why in a minute, I've come away from the movie. Well, to be honest with you, my expectations were kind of sky high, and after watching the movie, I'm a little bit disappointed with the story. Let me just say this again. The story is a bit disappointing specifically, but as for the overall package, one word comes to mind for this movie, and that is enjoyable. Now, there's a lot of reviews for this online, and there's a lot of 10 stars, 9 stars. It's amazing, the greatest Lupin adventure yet. And I just want to say, the CGI animation for this is stellar. It's great. It's right up there with, well, maybe not as flawless as Pixar, but as good as DreamWorks and some of the other American big houses that do CGI animation really well. And I just want to say, looking at this from a marketing perspective, anime, and being a long-time anime fan, there's a lot of anime that I've played with CGI, and honestly, anime has a terrible history with CGI. I think I watched this anime years ago, maybe a decade ago, called Karas. That was a CGI. I might have got the name wrong, but I'll put it on the screen. Berserk had weird CGI. You know, there's a lot of animes that just use CGI and it's computer gamey. And this time they got it right. And it's an honor that they actually picked one of the longest running anime franchise, Lupin the Third, to use such a fine-tuned CGI level. And it looks great. The character movements are great. The translation from the 2D animation to 3D is perfect. Everyone looks great. To be honest with you, Fujiko is one of those characters that they can over-sexualize, but because this is, again, CG animation is usually skewed towards a younger generation. So I guess this time they went more with an even Fujiko. But all of the character designs are great. The movement is great. Fluidity is good. Backgrounds, it just looked clean. The whole movie looked clean. And I was just, as a fan of Lupin the Third, I was happy. I was happy that the franchise got this recognition and this care. But what I was disappointed with, and in a way not really surprised, is the storyline and the plot, because it's generic. Now, I will say, I could tear apart the story and nitpick, but I don't think there's a reason to, because I think we need to put our minds in the perspective of what they were trying to do. CGI animation, very expensive. So, in my mind, they wanted to pick a story that would be able to kind of cash in the most audience members. So for that, you want to skew a bit younger. So the story's got to be, not even PG-13, got to be you. So the story itself, and I'll get to the plot in a minute, you can tell they're holding back. Lupin's a thief, he does criminal things, killing, stuff like that. So watching this movie, coming away from it, I was like, yeah, they definitely rid the wave of just being kind of softer, Again, we could say Hayao Miyazaki did that in Castle Cagliostro as well, and that upset some fans. You know, they want the raw part one, Lupin the Third, the murder, but they're trying to do something. They want to get a wide appeal, and for that, this is fine. Now, the plot, just so I can break it down, is one of the things that threw me, because this is called The First, which, you know, Lupin the Third. We're going to be doing it with Lupin the First, Arsène Lupin, the first one, the Godfather. We're going to find out more about him, and turns out, not really. I mean, there's a tie-in to Lupin's grandfather, Arsène Lupin, and the femme character whose parents are archaeologists. I mean, the story is so paper thin. It really bears no explanation. But hey, just for the hell of it, there's this book that holds the secrets to the secret weapon, and the Nazis want to get a hold of it. This girl in particular has ties to the family, and Lupin's grandfather tried to get this book. It was a treasure he could never get, and that's pretty much why the movie is called The First. Now, I'm just going to quickly abbreviate it and say there's a lot of other reviews that can break down the inconsistencies, but I think that was the first thing that was disappointing. I thought it was called The First, so we're going to get a big tie-in with Lupin's grandfather. Might even see him really, but not really. And again, this could be for legal reasons, because, you know, this is a character that was made by a French author. They don't have the rights to it. It was still, I don't think, so they can't really play with it. But, you know, the name's The First. I think we're going to focus on that. The girl and her, this girl who is being manipulated by her grandfather, who she thinks is her grandfather or uncle or whatever, who really did just destroy her life. Basically, spoiler, killed her parents and took the jewel, and now just using her and jealous of her. He's not much of a villain. It's kind of meh, but it's a kids family Lupin movie, so I'm like, but it's just frustrating because when we go into Pixar, go into the American side and see what they do with these family stories. Even the most recent movie I watched, which was Soul, that's a very competent movie with a good story and great animation, but I have to keep, as you see, I don't want to be too critical. I have to keep my mind, this is the first time they're doing it. This is the first shot. They just, it's an honor for them to use Lupin for this animation style because it costs so much money. They're trying to get their money's worth. It's a pandemic. Not even a lot of people could see it. Even though the movie came out last year, it was still a pandemic. So anyway, characters, the Lupin team, you don't get a lot of focus on them, to be honest with you. More focus on Lupin. Jigen and Goemon a little bit. Fujiko, not really. And Zenigata is there, and he's funny. And that's the parts that shine the most for me personally, is the parts where the team are all together having fun with each other. But everything to do with the Nazis and trying to find this book, it's just done to death. If you've seen all these Lupin specials, honestly, it's more of the same. And again, I try not to harp on it, but it was a little bit disappointing. But I know what this movie was trying to do. It was really an experiment with the CGI animation and trying to get a bit of the spirit of Lupin the Third. Can't go all the way, can't go super gritty, but is it fun? Yes. Is it colorful? Yes. Is it well executed on its own? Yes. And if you're a newcomer or if someone saw this for the first time, is this a good way to get into the franchise? I mean, it's not bad. I think that if you watch this movie and then go back and watch some of the other ones, the tone might shift a little bit, but this was enjoyable. So now let's get to the part where you guys are going to be a bit pissed off with me because I waited until the English American dub came out for this. Was it worth the wait to hear an English dub? Not really. I should have just watched and I did actually, sorry. I watched the Japanese language version. Again, I said that Lupin's, half Japanese, half French. A lot of his adventures seem to be, in Europe. So I just feel it lends a bit more to the English language. But to be honest with you, I regret waiting because it didn't really add anything. And there's not enough meat in the story there's not enough banter with the characters for the English voice actors to give me that meat that I usually get. So, the English dub is fine. The actors all do their thing. We know the voice actors, they've worked there before. But yeah, I shouldn't have waited that long for this, and I probably won't make that mistake again. I usually don't, to be honest with you, but I just wanted to like hold it up to Pixar level, and that was my mistake. I think my expectations for this movie were way too high, when really this is just another generic Lupin the Third adventure with amazing, amazing animation, and I can't take anything away from that. And yeah, that big. Honestly, I don't have that much more to say about it except for the big action scene where Jigen and Goromon, get Lupin out of Zenigata's hands is great. To me, that was the best scene. Also, when Lupin is pretending to be Hitler, that was pretty funny as well. Other than that, the story wise, it's just disappointing. Now, moving forward, would I want to see more Lupin the Third specials with CGI? Well, this is the thing. Because CGI is such a big investment and the companies are going to want their return on investment, I predict it's always going to be skewed to a much younger audience. It's always going to be tamer, just like how Miyazaki did with the Castle of Cagliostro. They made it just a family-friendly affair. And that, for me, doesn't make it that appealing for me personally. I would be interesting, to be honest with you, if it was a super violent Island of Assassins CGI movie, would that work in CG? Not sure that would work either. So at the end of the day, I think this is an interesting type of Lupin the Third experience. But personally, I prefer the 2D animation with more mature storylines like A Woman Named Fujiko Mine series, experimental animation. That's just me personally. The music, it kind of stuck to the classical Lupin the Third theme. It didn't, like the France part or the Italian part, use special twangs, in my opinion. I haven't checked out the soundtrack like I usually do, honestly, because I was kind of sick and I was feeling unwell and I just wanted to get this review out there, but I will definitely get back to you guys on that. But the soundtrack in the movie was okay. It was just more of the same. I think they were just playing it safe. I think this whole movie was playing it safe with great animation for a long-term repeat watcher like myself. I'm going to be critical. I'm going to want something new. The only thing new about this is the animation, which is good and enjoyable, but story-wise, I was left wanting, but not really surprised. So when I went to IMDb, my anime list, and I checked what everyone else said, everyone was so focused. Like, all the positives is about the animation. They loved the animation. This is the best Lupin. It was eye candy, amazing. But every time I read a review where someone talked about the story, generic, paint by numbers, vanilla. So there it is. If I had to give this movie a rating, I would give it like a low solid B to okay. I'm going to be harsh and say I think it's okay. I just think it's okay. There was a lot of hype for this movie. I hyped myself up. I waited all this time for the English dub, and all it amounted to was something visually nice and visually different, especially seeing anime, finally, Japanese animation getting CGI right was great. Giving Lupin that respect was great, but the story was bleh. And yeah, I'm being very harsh, but guys, that's my opinion. If you agree or disagree, let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. And yeah, we're caught up. I haven't seen any Lupin the Third special slotted for 2021. I usually go to Lupin Central for the Lupin news, and I highly recommend the Lupin fans check out that. Also, I want to give a shout out to Lupin the Third subreddit. Always a lot of news, great art there, always great discussions going on there. And yeah, I know this is funny enough. There's this conversation happening about Netflix's Lupin series about the black guy. One of my friends texted me like, Lupin is black now? I mean, honestly, the original Lupin character that was based off that French author made, there's been a lot of adaptations of that character, and Lupin the Third is a spin-off of that. So I might do a video talking about the other Lupins, which are just an adaptation of The Godfather, the original Lupin. But isn't that interesting? Meh. Now, I watched one episode of that Lupin TV series. It was pretty cool. The guy was kind of reminding me of Idris Elba. And it was in English, which was cool as well. But let's see. I might do a video on it later. But I'm going to leave it at that, guys. What did you think of Lupin the First, the movie special, CGI? Was you just so in love with the animation you don't care if the story was generic? Was you as critical as me? Or yeah, did you think it was just okay? Or everything else in between? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for waiting, guys. I know you've been waiting for me to do this one for months. I apologize. Forgive me, guys. I will never wait for a dub again. I'll just get the sub and do that review and then maybe do the dub later. But thank you for waiting. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe to Planet Tyro. We do book reviews, anime reviews, movie reviews, podcasts, stuff like that. And don't forget, we've got the whole Lupin the Third retrospective. I'm looking forward to more Lupin, and I'm going to keep my eye out for more Lupin news. But until then, thanks, guys. Thanks for the support. Stay safe as always, and I will see you on the next recording. Take care. Peace out.